Okay.
Because I'm live. Ready? Hey, Village, welcome to another episode of Womanhood Decoded, where each episode I endeavor to explore the intersections of womanhood, motherhood, and sexuality. But, this is also a special episode because it's a 2-for-1 in that it is also red lipstick conversations, and it is Freaky Friday, and it is November 1st. So it's a whole bunch of ands. And I also feel like it's also something having to do with the stars. And I have a very special in studio guest, and her name is, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Heather D. Perry, and I go by Alien Bodyguard online.
I love it. So, your look is incredible. Let me just tell you what happened, Village. So, my man had invited me to an event, and it was an AES. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So AES has a conference very similar to what podcasters have, which is, podcast movement. So every year, annually, people that work in the space of music, whether you are an engineer or if you're a producer or an artist, then yeah, there's an event. And then, like every other event, there's always an after party. So she and I met at the after party. But the funny thing is, y'all know me. When I see something dope, I got to record it right now. And I don't even ask for permission. Maybe I need to work on that moving forward. But I heard some music. And what was the name of the song that I was listening to?
The song that I played for the is it Platinum?
Yes.
Platinum.
It is
Penthouse Studios.
Yes.
And by the way, that was my first time, and I loved it. It was amazing studio. Definitely one of my faves here. It's called DIMP, DIMP, DIMP.
Okay, so can you explain to those of us who might not know what DIMP means? Because once I heard the song, it was a vibe, and I knew exactly what it was once it got started.
Yeah. Well, it's the initials for Diamonds in My Pussy.
Oh, see, look, we talking about real things at this point.
Yeah.
So this is our after dark, but it's still in the light conversation.
Yes.
So this is a not safe for children's ears. So this is the point where if you have little ears, you can redirect them to somewhere else and tell them that, they can watch maybe next week's episode. But today we are really going to get into some grown woman conversation. So I just love it. So there is a verse that's essentially saying that, well, you are walking in places and people are noticing you because of the energy that you have. The way that you walk and the way that you move, you cannot at all ignore you. You have such a warm energy, and you had the flyest shoes in the room. So can you kind of walk us through how you went from Heather to Alien Barbie? Because looking at you, you legit look like you could be on a movie set somewhere. So I just feel honored that you're sharing space with me today.
Thank you. I feel very honored to be here. And well, it's been a very big transformation through the years. I'm sure you know how transforming is the main objective to keep growth going. And just as an artist, a singer, songwriter, and mediator for the planet, that's what I feel like. I'm a mediator for the planet.
Okay.
My biggest mediation is to mediate the elite with the street.
Okay.
And to negotiate for people that may not be able to have a voice.
Okay.
And or also have people that don't have a voice or think that they don't have a voice, because we all have voices, are able to give them maybe some confidence to perceive their dreams the way that they would like to flow in life,
I love that.
Thank
I
you.
really, really, really love it. Because I feel like, all of us are on a different journey as it pertains to our self-worth and how we show up in places. And I feel like much of my life, the way I showed up wasn't authentic, basically. It was a caricature of myself, if you will. And so when I say it was a caricature, like this is me being the relaxed version of me, but it still isn't the me that people get when I'm not on camera, if that makes sense. So, I'm working to be more me everywhere that I go. So, like today, I'm wearing bright colors, bright lips. I have my hair clips in and stuff. And so, I feel like I'm being more myself. But if I have to be somewhere to go work in the capacity of a journalist instead of being a podcast host, then that's different. Then I have to sit up straight like this, and I need to make sure that I am always speaking in a tone that is agreeable. I can't ever elevate my voice because if I do so, I might be perceived to be an aggressive woman, or I might be perceived to be something outside of, I don't know, someone you want to work with. So I always have to be agreeable. And I don't ever have the ability to not be agreeable in white spaces, to be honest. So when I come in contact with somebody that is like yourself, that you have a very open mind and you look at humanity and you don't look at it in terms of color as it pertains to, where certain people should be. So like if you're this color, you should live this place. And if you're this color, you should live that place. It just seems like you have a very inclusive mindset. So what I'm wondering is, can you share a little bit of your journey, how you got to that place? Were you always like in a family that just was always pro support, for example, civil rights? Or was it somewhere in your adulthood that you realized that, the idea that people should be separate wasn't something that jived with who you were?
Well, I would say that it kind of is in my DNA, like
Okay.
naturally.
Okay.
I've never ever had a, I don't even want to use the word, but some kind of a division in my cells,
Mhm.
I love this
Mhm.
about the spirit that I was given.
Right.
So I did come from a very rural background,
Okay.
and they were not as like I am.
Okay.
But at the same time, I genuinely know that it's something that's just, fear.
Right.
I mean, it's fear based. It's
Mhm.
everything's fear based, and also knowledge. A lot of the knowledge that are just suppression of anything, anything.
Mhm.
So if you keep going and doing that over and over again, it's going to make people think that
Mhm.
certain things. So
Mhm.
my DNA when I came here is very very, it's grounded for unity and also elevation,
Mhm.
and that's where I don't I do not ever look at colors.
Mhm.
It's very like I don't segregate or I don't divide. I
Mhm.
want to unify because the planet, I look everything as a planet. I mean, I've traveled 80 countries over 10 times on, that was years ago, but
Mhm.
I've, before Instagram.
Mhm.
So, but I've seen a lot of interesting characters, and
Mhm.
we're all breathing the same air. We
Mhm.
have to have food. We have to have water to
Mhm.
live. And there's just so much more for humanity to do on the planet than just sit here and look at each other and be like, oh, you're this or that. And
Mhm.
those are things that, um, this is an outer exterior shell. This is
Mhm.
what people that are in a trance see, and
Mhm.
this is what they communicate with.
Mhm.
So
But in other words, you're saying that you have evolved beyond just
yes,
that. I
yeah.
love that.
So this is it's something that they can communicate with.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
already know who I am.
Mhm.
I could take this off and know who I am.
Mhm.
But people can communicate, and then they seem that, oh, I can connect with that because
Mhm.
they grasp for connection.
Mhm.
But it's something, it's weird because we're in this day and age, and it's like, let's go
Mhm.
already,
Mhm.
let's move forward.
Right. I love that. I would love for us to move forward, to be honest.
Yeah.
And what I love, honestly, is you have this very collaborative spirit. So thank you so much for being here. And outside of that, it's not fake people. Like when I met her, she was like this. And she was warm to everybody that she encountered. And whether it was somebody that was from her generation, so you're not an ageist, or somebody that was from a different generation, it was a very much a situation of, you know, let's all work together. Let's
Yes.
all collaborate. And, we all have something of value to share and to say. And I loved that. And then listen, when y'all listen, at the end of this episode, we're going to hear the song that she played for the group. And when I tell you the song doesn't match the woman, I mean, it does, but it doesn't at all, to be honest. Because when I would think of this woman and I would think of a song that she might come up with, I don't know. I think of, to be honest, Dolly Parton.
Hmm.
I think of something Charlie Chaplin adjacent as far as the genre of music.
Right.
But when I heard the music, the song, it's like a heavy hip hop slash, I don't know, West Indian undercurrent with the heavy beat, the heavy bass in the song. And it's like I was moving my hips to it. I was just like, hey, I love it. So y'all can just get ready for that. It's going to happen later on. So I'm excited. So when it came to the lyrics of the song, how involved with you were you in that process? Did you actually write the whole song or some of it? Like, tell us about that.
That was a one down. I write everything. I don't write it physically. I just kind of just come out with things, and that's how I make my music. So usually it's a one down, I record it, and then that's it. So if I have to recut it or anything like that, that's what I do. But I don't know, like that's why I say I'm a mediator with that. So it just kind of comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, because like my past, I've traveled with very extensively with multi-billionaires,
Mm-hmm.
and I've also lived in the hoods of the world. So
Mm-hmm.
I have extensive communicative abilities to kind of ground and be humble on a multi-billionaire
Right.
lifestyle, and
Right.
and it's like you have to, because that's where we have to come together, if you want to grow on the planet. And New York is the heartbeat of the world. Let's face it, this is the heartbeat, and the veins have been pushed right now because that's what they want to do. And these New Yorkers here, they are wanting something to be pulled in and to get that heartbeat pumping again. And this is something for me. I came back to New York a couple of weeks ago. I've been out of the country for a year and a half in the South America, and I needed to refocus and redeliver what I came to do in the mission. And it's the heartbeat of the world, and this is where it is. And these type of things, yeah, it's out there, and it's got a lot of explicit words. Well, that's what people like, or the shock factor, but at the same time, it's real, it's raw, and this is who I am. I mean, it's just something that
it flows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it ebb and flows, because that's just how I think life is. And whenever, if you're rigid, then you're not growing. And so I feel like women, we always represent water and life, and we're always birthing something. Even if it's not a physical child, we might be birthing a dream. We might be birthing a nonprofit. We might be birthing music. But whatever it is, it's flowing through us, because I feel that our uteruses are the seat of creation. So anything male, female, or whatever in between, it comes from a woman. So in order for you to get here, as far as in this dimension, in this planet, you have to come through a woman. And so I just think that is a superpower that in our current day and age isn't something that's really given any sort of reverence like it once was, because historically in other cultures, for example, Egyptian or African culture, women were worshipped as deities because of the fact that they gave birth to kings, and because they gave birth to pharaohs. And, even if you want to go to European culture and you want to look at, let's say, I don't know, Greece, or you want to look at, Rome, you want to look at Caesar. Well, Caesar didn't just come on the scene. Somebody had to birth Caesar, And so when you're thinking about all of these things, I guess I just want people to kind of not worship us or nothing like that. But now there's, to me, so much focus on things outside of who we are as women. So it's like you and I are considered to be the anomaly, and that we are feminine, yet we operate in a masculine world.
Very much.
So, we like to have, someone to open our door. We enjoy the finer things of life, whether it is the way we travel, or the jewelry that we wear, or the bags that we accessorize with. We like the finer things. But at the same time, we're not going to wait for a man to provide those things.
Right.
So we get dressed every day or whenever it's necessary for us to get dressed. And, we put on whatever is necessary to navigate that, if that makes sense. So, as it pertains to our sexuality and our femininity, I feel like a lot of the times it's weaponized against us, because it's like, if we are here for a specific point of connecting with a man, whether it is the decision maker for, our newest venture, or the decision maker for your music, for example, where it's going to be played, and you have to talk to executives, you choose to wear bright colors, whether it is your hair or your glasses or your lipstick. You're choosing to say, hey, I know a lot of things in my mind, but I'm still a woman. And so because I'm a woman, I want to be pretty. So for me, being pretty means getting my hair colored. It means, wearing my favorite lipstick, wearing my favorite fragrance. And so when you walk into the room, it's like everything kind of stops, because men are used to just their energy, but then when a woman comes in and we're able to match the energy of the man in charge, for example, we have to, as women, we have to be careful with their egos. We have to make sure that we're talking to them in tones where they won't feel like we're being too aggressive. So what I want to know is, why do you choose to show up, with your hair colored, and to be, like you say, an attention grabber? Because, your hair could be a lot of different colors. I think it's platinum, and it could be, hold on, it's not lime green. Is it lime green?
Yeah, I guess it's like a fluorescent lime green or
Okay.
something. I don't really know, but
It looks magical, people. Listen, it
you
does.
like it?
Yes, I love
Thank
it. I love
I
it.
think I met you and I just had the platinum that
Right.
night. Yep.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just makes me think of what's his name, the Hulk. And,
yeah.
and it also makes me think of, who is it in Spider-Man who is green? I can't think of it. It's not Lex Luthor, is it? No, that's Superman. It's somebody that be wearing green in Spider-Man. And anyway, the point of the matter is, green is a color that's thought of as envious, or green is a color that's thought of as, if you're not operating in your highest sense, for example, when it comes to characters. But then if you Google the color green, Google says that green has to do with money. It has to do with new beginnings. It has to do with nature. So I think those are the attributes that you are talking about when you are wearing green. I don't think you're talking about the green-eyed monster, or you're talking about, smashing things when you're wearing green. I think you're channeling nature. You're channeling, new beginnings, because it's a new month.
Yes.
And so those are the things that I'm feeling from you. So when you wore green, or when you selected green, what was in your mind when you were thinking about, hey, I'm going to try this color?
Well, I'm into chakras, and the green is for the heart chakra. And in fact, I put my brother, I asked him if I could wear his emerald today. It's green emerald. It's a Colombian. And I said, because of my hair, and I said, I just kind of want to feel the vibration of, the heart chakra, because to be honest, I feel like, for me personally, that I've been going through a lot in my heart. And so I think that it's because I'm in New York, and it's the heartbeat of the world, like I said, and I'm feeling this heart energy, and I just feel like I need some really nice green in my, in my life.
So you want to like manifest it. So you're kind of calling it in.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I felt.
Yeah.
That's why I did that.
Right. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Because I was thinking about color, to be honest, because I feel like I look boring with this color, or with my natural color. And then there's a whole bunch of, you see this shiny thing right here? It's not a beret. It's gray hair, people. That shiny thing is not one of my berets.
Silvers. Yeah. So you wore the red today for the most amazing Scorpion new moon today.
Okay.
So that red is powerful on a Scorpio. So that's, this is a big, big day of literal death, rebirth, transformation. Today is the day of letting go a lot.
I love it. So before we close this episode, or this segment, I would like everyone to know, how can they find you, whether it is on Instagram, or if they can find you on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, because I want people to be able to follow your work, and to not just see you here, but, support whatever it is that you might be working on, or that's coming down the pipes.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just alienbarbiedoll.com. On Instagram, I'm Alien Barbie Doll, Facebook, um, TikTok, all of those, YouTube. And also I am with as
Uh-huh.
my main company is
Uh-huh.
called Alien Empire.
Huh.
And so that is the Spotify, all the music that you
Mm-hmm.
can purchase or stream,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really not about purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like 150 music sites, and it goes through Alien Empire, and
Okay.
those are what you can find me with the music for streaming.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your energy. And thank you for your willingness to be you, because it takes a lot, especially in this day and age when we are told as women to stay in the box. So thank you for being all the way out the box.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely
Thank you.
out the
Thank you.
box.
And so, Village, give us a couple minutes. We're going to switch a couple things around and we will be right back. So sit there. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
One.
Hi, my name is Alien Barbie Doll, and we are going to listen to my new song, Dimp.
Let's get We'll catch up again real soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Tasha. Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, Village, thank you for just sticking here with us. Yeah, so that was a lot. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we are about to get into the second episode or mini episode or segment. Um, yes, 1 second. We are trying to make sure that everybody is on the live stream. Translation. Is it working? We're just trying to make sure they are not yet there. Let's me check. They said they clicked it. Mm, she said she's on. Everybody's staying in. Everybody is Let me put this out the way. Yep.
So we're here to clap and just see you later. You'll hear a clap and just cut to it's the second part of your segment.
Hey, Village. So, welcome to the second segment of Womanhood Decoded / Red Lipstick Conversations. And today I have a special guest with me, and she wasn't able to be in studio, but she is still here with us. And I have Eve with us. So, welcome to the show, Eve.
Thank you. Great to see you.
I'm trying to see. Eve, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Of course. My name is Eve Hall, and I am a licensed physical therapist that treats sexual health conditions such as erectile dysfunction and its female equivalent, decreased vaginal sensitivity and dryness. I also have a podcast called Please Me, and it aims to destigmatize conversations about sex and sexual health. And I am so excited to be on the Red Lipstick Confessions today, or maybe I had that name wrong, but I've got my red lipstick here and I've got my red lipstick on. I am ready.
I love it. And so for those of you who don't know, Eve and we met at Afros and Audio, the 6th annual podcast conference in Washington, D.C. a couple weeks ago. And I saw Eve's shirt from across the space, and I had to come and meet you. But when I say come, I wasn't, listen, words can mean different things on this episode. So I need y'all to just walk with me here. So the shirt that you are wearing said, I believe it said orgasm equality. So tell me about that particular piece of merchandise, because it's one of the ones that's one of my best conversation starters walking here in New York City.
Yes, it is a great conversation starter, which is why I love wearing my t-shirts to conferences, because it repels anyone who doesn't want to talk about these topics and it attracts anyone who does. So I love to, get the conversation going with people that really truly want to talk about orgasm equality. And I started an orgasm revolution in February to bring awareness to the orgasm gap. The orgasm gap is a phenomenon where in heterosexual relationships, women have less orgasms than men. And that goes across the board from hookups all the way to marriage. And I find that statistic or that phenomenon to be a travesty. And I think it's something that can be reversed with education and with empowerment. And so I love talking about the orgasm gap and how we can close that orgasm gap for ourselves, one person at a time. And I know that for me, in my experience and in my relationships in the past, there had always been an orgasm gap. So when I heard that this was something common to all women, I was like, wait a minute now, we need to start talking about this. We need to start destigmatizing these conversations so that women can really understand how their bodies work so that they can get their needs met. And so a lot of what my podcast is about is talking about that particular topic.
I love it because for me, to be honest, in my lived experience, I just thought that in my 20s that the whole objective of any relationship was to keep the attention of the male-bodied partner. So in order to do that, I needed to wear uncomfortable lingerie. I needed to just make sure that I was, whatever it was I was doing was for the benefit of the male party. And it wasn't until, I don't know, I want to say my mid to late 30s that I started to feel, I don't know, resentful about my sexual encounters. I started to feel like they were all one-sided, and I was angry, but I didn't have, I don't think at the time, the language to communicate my anger. So I know I absolutely did withdraw in those relationships emotionally, even though I was still involved because I didn't venture out of the dynamic as far as dating somebody else, even though I was feeling like my needs weren't being met. So I was just wondering, is what I'm sharing with you, Eve, is that something that other women or people have ever dealt with, or is this something that I'm just experiencing in a vacuum?
I think that this is a common feeling for many women across the board. And, when we aren't talking to each other about it, we're not going to really understand that this is a phenomenon that happens to all women. And, unfortunately, what you see in the media, in movies, in TV shows, etc., is always focused on male pleasure, right? It's focused on penetration, which is how men are able to orgasm, okay, and climax, and that is not how women are able to orgasm and climax. 95% of women need external clitoral stimulation in order to orgasm, and a lot of people don't know that fact. And so when you don't know that, you're not going to be able to satisfy yourself. So this is something that is, I think, a frustration for all women that are in heterosexual relationships. And I have to say that the LGBT community does not experience this because they know how their parts work and they're able to satisfy themselves more equally than in heterosexual relationships. So I think that most women can relate to that. Only 3 to 5% of women can orgasm from penetration alone. And I don't think that that statistic is really out there and being talked about as much as it should be, because we as women need to understand how our bodies work and how we can orgasm and how we can satisfy ourselves. But men also need to know how to satisfy us. And, it's not a one size fits all situation. You need to get to know your partner because everybody is just a little bit different. But again, external clitoral stimulation is where it's at.
But I mean, I hear you, and I'm not going to disagree, but I want to give a little bit of pushback on it because, first of all, for me, I'm just going to be honest, my clitoris is way too sensitive for a lot of things. So when it comes to stimulation, I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure you are. The toy, the Womanizer. So I like that toy because it hovers over the clitoral area as opposed to attacking it, because I feel like a lot of female toys or for the female body attack it, meaning that they are putting too much pressure or too much, whatever they're doing to it is too much. So for me, if I'm in a situation with a male or female bodied individual, I don't need anybody to lick it. I don't even really need you to look at it real hard. I just need you to kind of like breathe around it.
Okay.
Like if you are doing any aggressive sucking or any of that, then I'm gonna be like, pause, stop, don't do it. But that's because like you said, when you are in a same-sex situation, I don't particularly have that situation with women because they will immediately see me recoil and I don't have to say stop. But a man will be in the very same situation, in the same location, meaning between my thighs, and I will be moving away. So to me, that is a clear indicator that they need to adjust whatever it is that they're doing. But what do men do? They pull me closer and they hold me down and they say, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, away. I'm trying to get away. And they're like, "But I'm trying to give you this." And I don't want that. I need them to back it up as it pertains to, because the thing is, this is what I want to get to, because Eve, you just said that in situations, all of us are a little bit different. So what I'm saying is I'm on the anomaly. I'm the exception to the clitoral, put all of your energy crew of people. I'm on the other side of the spectrum where you can see, on the side of it, the air is going to get through it. Side of it, I can't do any of that. If you're doing with me, I'm gonna say stop it immediately, please. But another woman, if you're not doing, you'll never get her where she's going. So some women need that, but for me, I don't want it. So what I want to get into is, well, first of all, why do you think that might be? Why am I so super sensitive? Because all of us have a whole bunch of nerve endings in that area. So I'm not the only one that got a whole bunch of nerve endings. So why is it for me? I can't take and other women, they need that in order to get where they're going.
Well, a lot of it has to do with, like you said, everybody's different. Or like I said, everybody's different, right? Everybody has their own level of stimulation that they need in order to get there. And, when you're younger, you're much more sensitive than as you get older, because as you get older, the tissue becomes less sensitive. But women do have a lot of nerve endings on their clitoris. It's the only organ in the body that's only made specifically for pleasure. Okay. The man has the penis, right? And the penis also has a lot of nerve endings on the end of it, right? But the woman's clitoris has more nerve endings than the penis. Okay. So it is extremely, extremely sensitive. And some people can desensitize it by stimulating it for a long period of time, and that can also desensitize it. But some people are just extremely sensitive like you, and that's okay. And that is why it is so important to be able to communicate with your partner, because if you like your clitoris to be blown on, right, to be, you need a blow job as opposed to like a suck job, right? um, this is what you need to be able to say to your partner. And yes, a woman is going to be possibly more sensitive to your recoiling than a man would be, because the man doesn't know what it feels like, right? So we need to be able to say, you know what, babe, I do like that area stimulated, but I don't like it necessarily sucked. I would prefer if you just blew on it. And we need to be able to say these things,
and go
right?
to the side of it. Like you can do that. You can use the lips like that and but don't open the lips. Just use your
Right.
as something to rub against it.
And that is all about, training your partner to pleasure you. It's not an automatic thing where we automatically assume that our partner knows what we want. And I think that, the LGBTQ community and the kink community do this really well. They talk about everything. They talk about what they want, they talk about what they like, they talk about what they don't like. They create safe words, they create um, you know, uh, an ability to have a stop in the middle when you're not feeling right. I mean, this is all things that we should all be learning from these communities and bringing them into our, heterosexual encounters. Because you cannot assume that your partner, the man in the situation, is going to know your body. Only you know your body, and only you can tell your partner how you like to be pleasured. So I feel like, we as women have to really learn to voice what we want. And that just starts with, creating your voice in the first place, and as a young woman, oftentimes, it takes years to really learn your voice and be able to speak out about anything really. And then, translating it to the bedroom is a whole nother layer. So that is, one of the things that I love to talk about on my show.
I love it. I love it. So, I'm getting a question from Square Table Degenerates, and they are wondering about jealousy as it pertains to this topic. And
That's interesting.
I'm trying to figure out how jealousy plays a role in my mind. Do you, from your female? I'm not seeing where jealousy comes in, because to me, we're talking about apples and oranges, for example. So what an orange is going to taste like and what an apple is going to taste like is going to be completely different. So I don't see where jealousy comes in at. So
I don't know if you're talking about jealousy in terms of being jealous that the woman is orgasming multiple times and the man can only do it once.
Okay.
I don't know if that's where they're coming from, but yes, I mean, a woman has the ability, her body has the ability to have multiple orgasms if you know what you're doing, right? And you're able to translate that information to your partner. But a man can only, come once, and then there's got to be a refractory period and then they can come again. But
Mhm.
a woman can orgasm and then just a few seconds later, orgasm again. And then, 10 seconds later, orgasm again. And it's a beautiful thing. And really, that's just the way that our bodies are built. Like I said, we have a lot more nerve endings on our clitoris than a man has on his penis. And so, is someone jealous about that? I mean, I feel like if you are in a partnered relationship with someone that cares about you, they should really want to pleasure you and they shouldn't feel jealous about that. They should feel proud of themselves that they were able to get you there and to satisfy you, because we all deserve love and we all deserve pleasure.
Yeah, so a clarification, they said no. So like when a woman says those women who are sexually forward ruin it for the rest of us type people.
Well, I don't agree with that because, a woman who has they have confidence in their sexuality is
Mhm.
something that I like to call big clit energy, right? And yes, and you know, that is something that is like big dick energy, right? It
Mhm.
translates to all areas of our life. It translates to the boardroom. It translates to the conversations that you're having with your friends. It translates to you walking down the street, with the strut in your step. Big clit energy is the confidence that we have in our sexuality as women. And if you are being chastised for that, then maybe the person that's chastising you is someone that you do not want in your life. And yes, this is a common thing that happens because our society, unfortunately, tells us that we are supposed to be demure. We're supposed to be, ashamed of our sexuality. But the bottom line is that we are born sexual beings. And there's nothing that we can do to change that. So why not embrace it?
I love it. So I want to get into a little side part of this conversation, and that is that this is something that is not a new conversation. So I wanted to bring up a couple of movies and or musicals. So I want to start with, well, before I get into that, how do you like to be, not really reference, but for example, I think of myself as an Afro Caribbean woman who lives in America. So essentially, I'm Trinidadian American. So, how do you situate yourself on the spectrum of racial identity?
Well, as a Latina, I am a mix of all of the good things, right?
Mhm.
We are a combination of African, we're a combination of indigenous and European. And so we have a little bit of everything, all of the good things in us. And so I definitely identify as a Latina woman.
Okay, so as a Latina woman, talk
Mhm.
to me about what it was like whenever you consumed the first time the musical West Side Story. How was the woman who was considered the va va voom woman that was getting the young white male so up in, a tizzy? What was it like when you consumed that as a younger Latina woman?
West Side Story is a very interesting, movie and was, you know, a sensation in its time. And unfortunately, there was the white group, right, and then the Latino group, and they were gangs and they were like fighting each other, right, and it was about the war of the races.
Mhm.
And as a Latina woman watching that, I loved the cultural dances that were portrayed. I felt very proud of that. Rita Moreno did a beautiful job. But of course, women are always sexualized in these movies. And, many of the characters that you see over the years have often been sexualized as Latina women. I can name a whole bunch of them, but I won't even get into that right now. So, it's kind of like when you watch something and you're proud that Latinos are being shown on stage, but then they're being shown as criminals and they're being shown as gangsters and they're being shown as rapists and they're being shown as you know criminals, they're doing criminal activity, and it's like, why can't we be shown as, amazing members of society, which many of us are, and so it's a catch 22, very much so. On one hand, you are happy that the Latino culture is even being displayed on television, especially back then when it was very rare to see our culture being displayed on television, just as in the African American community as well. And now, as time goes on, we're seeing more and more of the characters being represented. But again, we are still fighting against the same sexualization and hypersexualization as women. And that goes into something more recent where J Lo was in the halftime show, and she wanted to make a political statement with her daughter in the cage, and she wanted little girls to be able to shout it out into the world that they weren't going to be able to hold us back and hold us down in terms of our voices. And there was a lot of pushback, and they wanted to pull that part of the show the day before the show, and it's because of who was running the show itself, and who is running the show itself. A lot of times it's white men, and they want us to be portrayed as these sexualized beings, but they don't want us to have any kind of statement against them, and so it's a tale that continues to be told, and we have a lot of work to do as women, to continue struggling and fighting for our rights to bodily autonomy, and just to speak. If you're familiar with what's going on in Afghanistan and the Taliban, just a couple of weeks ago, they banned women from showing their faces in public. And just yesterday, I saw that they banned women from speaking to each other. So we can't even speak to each other. There's just so much anger and hatred towards women and fear around our feminine power, and so I think it's a struggle that continues to this day.
So the next question is, what is your opinion on dating apps?
Well, I think that they have a place. Certainly. I actually met my partner on a dating app, SDC.com, which is an ethical, non-monogamous dating app. And I think that they definitely have their place in society. I also think that there is a culture around dating apps where there's always someone else that you can kind of move on to, and so there's on to the next one type of mentality, right? Instead of really trying to build a relationship, a foundation with one person. And so I think that they have their place, but certainly there's a lot of things that can be that can be better about them, and it really depends too on the dating app that you're using. You need to find one that is more in line with your particular way of being. And so I think that there are certain ones that I think are really good. There's one called Skirt Club that I think is super amazing. It's for women, it's for bisexual women. And so when you're looking for a dating app, I think that you need to really pay attention to the app that you're on, and make sure that you're aligning with its core values.
I love that. So, prior to me being in my heteronormative relationship that I have right now, with an amazing, fantastic, everything positive partner, because he accepts all of me, not just the parts that he likes. So that's what I appreciate. And as it pertains to dating apps, like you said, I feel like they work when you are honest about what it is you like. So it's not going to work or be effective if you're saying that, for example, you like walks in the park, but you know that's the very last thing that you want to do in real life when you're with a person. So I feel like if we are authentic with what we put on our dating apps, then maybe we can have better outcomes with our dating app situation. Um, so, for example, there's one I believe it's called Threesome, and it's a swingers app. Then there's another app. It eludes me right now, but it's Purple and Black, and it is basically for bisexual women or women that are outside of the heteronormative situation. So, no, I guess I don't have any particular main thought process around it other than like, I don't know, it's kind of like if you go to work and you always wear hats at work, but in your real life you never wear hats. So it's like, you know, what part of you are you showing? And I feel like whatever aspect of yourself that you're showing, then you know you're going to be able to connect. But if you're not showing anything authentic, then you know you might have a different experience, I think.
I 100% agree. Authenticity and honesty is so, so important when it comes to dating, relationships, all of that. Because if you are not being your true, authentic self, you are going to be missing out on really connecting on a deeper emotional level than you would if you were being authentic. And a lot of times people hold back their authentic self for months, and months, and, sometimes even longer than that, not telling the other person all of who they are. And, that only hurts the relationship, because if you are not being fully authentic, you are not going to have a beautiful, deep relationship that we all deserve. And so I think authenticity and honesty is so key. And I think, again, the kink community does that really well. I just had Max Carey on my show, and he did a documentary called Touch Kink.
Mhm.
And we were talking about modern love and how modern love is about authenticity and honesty. And modern love is, hello, my name is, and I'm into XYZ.
Mhm.
Why wait around for several months to tell somebody that you have a foot fetish, or whatever it is, you like to be spanked, or you like to be dominant, or you like to be submissive? Why wait until, months down the line, when you could have saved a whole lot of grief, if your partner's not into that, And I'm not saying have it on the first date, that conversation, but have it soon enough when you really, decide that that's somebody that you want to spend more time with, you want to be involved with. You need to have these conversations, because, trying to convince somebody months down the line that, you want to be a swinger with them when you never mentioned it at the beginning is going to be a huge shock. And a lot of times people will run away, if that's not what they're into. But if you tell them at the beginning, they're going to have the ability to make the decision whether they want to stick around or not. And it's going to waste so much. It's going to, not waste, I should say, not waste anybody's time.
I love that. I love it. I do, because, well, I don't know if it's because I've just gotten to the place in my 40s where I really don't care. Or if I think what it is, I want to have the shock factor kind of really at the very beginning. So I don't, I tell people before we even get on a date, whenever I establish the fact that somebody is attracted, being that I'm the female and I'm the one that's being pursued, I say, unless I'm doing the pursuing, because I am a Leo and I do that on occasion. But generally speaking, male bodied or female bodied somebody will tell me that they are interested. And whenever I hear that, I immediately say, hey, I'm super bisexual. How do you feel about that? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I will always be attracted to women, meaning not just in passing, not just something that I experience or I look at, but for me, I'm going to want to have some sort of situation. And so when I say situation, you alluded to the fact that you were on an open or a polyamorous type app. So what I want to get into real quick is there's this book called The Ethical Slut. And
Mm-hmm.
in the book, the author is basically saying that these are words that white America or Eurocentric America or the male thought process of America has basically labeled women, that are basically saying that, well, we want something outside of the male penis. So, or we want multiple penises, then we are the hoe in the situation or the slut in the situation. But a man or male bodied individual can have a plethora of female what is it, exploration or excavation, whatever you want to talk about, and it's just fine. That's, the idea is, boys will be boys or men will be men. But if I do the same thing, I'm a hoe. Unless I'm doing whatever I'm doing with you, then it's something that you want and appreciate. But God forbid I do what I did exactly with you and I want to do it with somebody else. Now I'm the problematic individual in the situation. And it's like, how? Like, I'm
Yes.
doing the exact same thing that you wanted me to do with you, but I don't want to do it with just you because you might be okay at it, or you might be great at it. But, here, this is what I tell people. There are various different flavors of ice cream. And let's say that my favorite is cookies and cream, or what is the one? Almond pecan. What is the one that's pecan and caramel pecan? I don't know
Butter
what.
pecan. Butter pecan.
Yes, that one.
Butter pecan.
Yes, pecan. Let's say I love that. But I also don't mind, keyword mind, chocolate every blue moon. Or I don't know, vanilla. If it goes with what is it? Peach cobbler, or if it goes with apple pie. Those are reasons why my ice cream doesn't go with those particular desserts. You see what I'm saying? But my favorite is still my favorite. Every time I go to the get ice cream, I'm always gonna get, butter pecan, or I'm gonna get cookies and cream. So that's my favorite. And so the reason I'm saying that is, if I want to broaden it and make it deeper for people to try to understand, if they can't get with my analogy on ice cream, let's talk to the parents in the room. And you have, let's say, multiple children. Now, unless you are part of the one segment of the universe who actually says that you have a favorite child, largely you're going to love all of your children equally, even though you might prefer one of your children as far as their personality. But as far as the love goes, it doesn't matter which one needs a kidney. You as a parent are going to go and do everything you need to do to either A, give your kidney, or B, facilitate your child getting a kidney, because you love your children equally. So, because love expands when it comes to having children, and because a palate is able to enjoy multiple types of ice cream, and or let's talk about wine, or let's talk about coffee. Coffee comes in certain flavors at certain points of the year. Like even Starbucks, they only have the what is it, pumpkin spice, whatever it is. They only have it for a couple weeks in the year. They don't have that pumpkin everything throughout the whole time. But the point is, now what about the people that have been drinking their regular black coffee, but then all of a sudden it gets the fall and now they want the pumpkin? So is something wrong with the person? No, they still love their regular coffee, but they can appreciate another flavor. So that's how I think about people as well. I think it carries over. I feel like I have exhausted trying to make illustrations here, but Eve, give us some help. Help us to
Yes.
understand.
I think it's time to stop slut shaming women. Okay. We are not sluts. We are sexual beings just like any man. And unfortunately, we live in a patriarchal society, and we live in a society that teaches that monogamy is the only way to be in partnered relationships. And, non monogamy is something that is definitely coming to the forefront more and more. However, it's still perceived as very, marginal, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. I feel like there are definitely more cultural touchstones on TV, and we're seeing more threesomes being portrayed, and more relationships that are maybe polyamorous that are on television now, which I think is great because we're seeing and we're able to model ourselves after something different that's not monogamy. But the monogamy culture and the marriage culture basically has the woman as being property to the man.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody is property to the man, the person that is in the ownership position wants to control the other person. And we are all on our own individual paths, on our own individual journeys, women included. And we are all sexual beings. And yes, there are many flavors of ice cream. And not one person, you talked about The Ethical Slut, and I think that that is such a powerful book for so many people to read and understand, even just to understand the concept of ethical non-monogamy. And another great book that I'm going to mention too, Taylor Sparks wrote it. She wrote The African American Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy for people that are not, white. Okay.
Yeah.
And so there are books out there for all of us to read. And I think that they really give us an idea of what is possible. And what is possible is that love is infinite. Okay. Love is not something that you have to cut off and only give to one person. And if you are bisexual, as you are and as I am, if you are only having a relationship with one person, okay, whether it be male or female, you are cutting off your desire for the other type of individual, right? And so you are limiting yourself in terms of your self expression and your expression of love in the world. And we as humans have the ability to love many people. We love our children, maybe not all exactly equally, maybe slightly differently. Yes, we love them all, but we love this one for this reason, and we love this one for this reason. And just like in partnered relationships, we love this person for one reason, but this person gives us something different that we really love. And so, having an open minded idea about love can really help us to really fully love in our lives and not limiting ourselves.
Right. I love that. Another book is Polysecure. I would suggest that one is another one that really helped me navigate these waters. But I want to be clear, given that I said that I'm super bisexual and I said that I was in a heteronormative relationship and I'm happy there. So what that means is I am with a male-bodied individual and I am operating as if I am uh monogamous, even though I'm polyamorous in my mindset right
Mhm.
now. I am in a heteronormative, monogamous um, relationship dynamic. And I know those are a lot of words, and it's like I'm doing vocal gymnastics. But what I want people to understand is that my partner accepts that I like women and we're able to talk about it. So for me, I don't have to necessarily go out and conquer various women that I might be attracted to like in previous times of my life. And I think that has to do with the fact that I've kind of simmered down a little bit, that I'm in my 40s. And it's like I can look and I can, I don't know, just have a deep conversation, for example. I think there's another misnomer or there's another myth that if I'm with multiple people, then that means I'm having penetrative or some form of actual sex with a person. And that's not always the case. I might have an intimate connection or an intimate vibe with the person, but that doesn't mean that I am having body to body contact. So in my situation, he is the only person that I'm having any sort of sex with right now. And I'm very satisfied with that. I don't sit and contemplate. I mean, that's a little bit of a lie. I might contemplate pussies. It's not to the point where I feel like I need to now go and have one to look at. I can just be content to stand in line next to a gorgeous woman and or to compliment a gorgeous woman on, a piece of jewelry, and I can be fine. I don't need to feel like I have to go on a date with a woman. Even though I might want to go on a date with a woman, I don't have to. So I want people to understand, not because I don't know, I feel like I owe people anything, but I just want people to understand my mindset that I am with one man. I like being with one man and I don't want another man. So I have a man. That position is filled. But when it comes to women, that position is wide open.
Right.
I in my life where I am attracted to them, they're attracted to me. And I honestly only date women that are bisexual. I don't date women that are lesbian because they're trying to run off into the sunset of forever and always. And I don't listen, I need people to understand I'm attracted to women, but it's really selfish, really, how my mind chemistry is on this. I don't particularly want to have a deep penetrative conversation relationship with the women that I am entangled with. I just like to entangle with them outside, like wherever we are publicly or wherever we are privately. But I'm not sitting there talking to her about my future. I'm not sitting there talking to her about, my daughter. I'm just simply talking about pleasure. And I want to end this segment with I am in pursuit of pleasure at this point in my life. So that means wherever it might come from, whether it could be the wind, because I'm wearing a dress, I can get pleasure from that. Or it could be from my amazingly wonderful, attentive, everything I want positive in a male bodied person. It could be that. Or it could be, today I was intellectually stimulated through the conversation that I had with the guests, but I wasn't sexually attracted to her, but I was intellectually, attracted. And I don't know, maybe outside I might run into a woman who I am physically attracted to, and I might actually want to go on a date. But the thing is, because I am honest and my partner knows all of this, is I don't have to keep it in my head. So if I am in a situation where I actually want to go further than whatever I'm thinking about in my brain and I want to actually act on it, then because he is my primary partner, he's the foundation of my relationship. So anything outside of him is going to be an addition too. So, there's other terms like a hierarchical situation. So in my mindset, I need a hierarchical situation. I don't need everybody to be on the same level because all day I sit and dictate. So I need somebody to be in charge of. So another dynamic that I love is the dominant submissive situation. And you might think because I'm super dominant that I want to be the dominant. No. In that situation, I want to be the submissive. I want somebody to tell me to be quiet. I want somebody to muzzle me. I want somebody to tie me up and restrict me. But that's just how my mind works, because I'm always the one. Let's say if I come to a space and I'm a podcaster, but now I need to be the chief podcaster of some sort of association just because I'm good at it. So that's what happens to me in life. But I am going to end this episode by saying I am so grateful and thankful that you have decided to be here with me for Red Lipstick Conversations and for the special episode of Womanhood Decoded podcast with me, your host, Tasha Ray. And before we end, can you tell people where they can find you on either the internet or social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on pleaseme.online, and that is my website. All of my podcasts are there. I have lots of shows that I've been on, other podcasts, some free webinars that I've done in the past, like how to get big clit energy. And you can also go to pleaseme.online to get this t-shirt and to get the Orgasm Equality t-shirt. And I have a beautiful store of organic and natural sex products on there as well. And you can reach out to me there if you're interested in physical therapy for any kind of sexual health condition. And I would love to talk to you and hear from you.
Awesome. And finally, I believe you have a coupon code that is only good for a couple hours or minutes. Can you let them know what that coupon code is?
I don't have that with me right now. I think that was for the Organic Lovin', my store. But if you put it in the show notes,
Yes.
then they can click on pleaseme.online and use that coupon code. And I believe it's 15% off for another I think it's just day because it was a Halloween coupon code. So you can use it today, but I think tomorrow you can't. So 15% off of anything from my store.
Thank you so much for your time, Eve. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to join you on your podcast. So, Village,
Me
this
too.
has been a wonderful, wonderful episode. It's been a lot going on, but we are going to do better at making sure that I can connect with you all on all the platforms so I can answer your questions, so that I can do all the things. So we're working out those kinks. So bear with me. Thank you so much for being on this journey. And I am your host, Tasha Ray, and I will hopefully see you all on next week, Wednesday. So until next time, find a way to get some pleasure this weekend. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Eve. We're gonna be closing out the show now. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
How you gonna write her?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay, yeah. So Tasha's writing you now. Okay. Thank you for being a guest.
Okay, can I leave the studio now? Is everything uploaded?
Yep, you can absolutely leave this.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.